All right, so this is the functional movement screen. I use this with clients that come in and I want to see if they are physically capable to get some of the basic fundamental movement patterns that we do in the gym, mainly to one, see what they're clear to do, and two, make sure we're not loading anything that could possibly hurt them. So it's a series of just 7 movements. They're ranked on a score or on a scale of 1 to 3. For you at home, I'm going to kind of go through each one and just kind of give you things to look for and explain what it means if you're not able to accomplish doing them the correct way. So the first one we have is the overhead squat test. With the overhead squat test, you're going to have your feet, toes facing forward, unlike a lifting squat where our toes can face out. This is strictly, again, for a functional screen to see if we're physically capable to get in certain positions before we start moving. So in this position, we line the bar up so we have 90 degrees at our elbows, and then we lock this sucker out. From here, we got to squat ourselves down, keep the PVC pipe above our head, right, and making sure our knees stay in line with our toes, and then we don't shift our hips side to side. So from the side, we're here, PVC pipe stays over my head, right? I don't lean forward too much, and I don't let my heels come off the ground. Now, if I find that I can't keep my heels on the ground, we can sometimes take either a small plate or a piece of wood or something, elevate our heels, and what a lot of people will see, if they have limitations in their ankle mobility, they'll be able to go here and go straight up and down. And again, we're looking for this thigh to be parallel to the ground when we get there. If we go up and down and we find that we're dipping forward too much, or we can't keep the PVC pipe over our head, sometimes that's a sign that our mid and upper back is too tight. So if that's the case, there will be some exercises that I have that can help loosen that stuff up again. So the overhead squat is a high level movement, but again, it tells if somebody can fully function arm bracing overhead, if they have flexibility in the upper back, the hips and the ankles, and if they're stable into a fully functional squat. So it is a high level movement, but again, if someone can accomplish that, it means that we can probably start them loading most squat patterns. So from there, we have what is called the hurdle step. Now the hurdle step, you're going to need something that's about knee height, right? And usually we do this with a hurdle. What we do is the PVC pipe's here on my shoulders, and I take a step. I lift it up, and I come up, and I step over where that hurdle is, and then I come back. As we go, we look to make sure that these hips don't swerve side to side, and that our shoulders don't lean, and also that our leg doesn't turn in and out when we step over the hurdle. If we hit that hurdle again, imagine it's right here, knee height. That's also a sign that we don't have stability on one leg while actively flexing through the trunk on the other side. That's huge if we're starting to load single leg movements, because we don't want to compensate if the core's not ready for it. So that's usually a lot of stability exercises I will show later on as well. But moving on to the next screen. On this one, we take the PVC pipe, we stack it, we hold it to the back of our head, the middle of our shoulder blades, and our tailbone. From there, we take one step out, so we are in a straight line. We're going to touch this knee to the ground, right behind this heel. We come back up, and we balance, holding this PVC pipe to our back. So from the side, we're here, come down, you touch, back up, under balance. Notice it doesn't come off my back. So if somebody's tight through the shoulders, what they might do is they might end up leaning forward so that they can balance and stabilize, but we need to stay tall here. What we also might see is this foot will swerve in and out. If that's the case, then we know there's probably either some tightness somewhere in the hip, or that person isn't stable through the lower quadrant. Again, there's more exercises to show that. This exercise just shows if we can do a lot of split stance exercises, like split squats and lunges, all right? From here, we check our shoulder flexibility. This one's relatively easy. What we do is we make fists. This one's hard, you're gonna need somebody to help, or you can take a picture or video of yourself. What we do is, we go one arm up, one arm down, and we reach behind our back. Now we're not arching our back because we wanna make sure where our shoulder flexibility is. So as we do this, we wanna get about one hand's length apart. So I'm here, I reach, and it's just right there. I'm not arching my back. If we have more than a hand's length, it's a sign that if this elbow can't get up, so my person is a little tight, probably somewhere in the lats under the arm here I need to work on. If this front arm can't get to the middle of my back, I'm probably tight somewhere here in the front of the chest and the shoulder. So, moving on. Task number 5. We go on the ground. What we're looking at right here is if we are stable and strong enough in the front of the hip and loose enough in the back of the leg here to get into full hip flexion. So we're down, we press on the ground, our toes are up, and we lift this leg. So we want this to be about a 90-degree angle. If this comes down and it's about more than halfway below the opposite leg here, so if my leg's at about 45 degrees, we know that either the trunk isn't stable enough or we don't have the elasticity, the flexibility in the back of the leg that's coming up. And that becomes huge if we're doing things like hinges, RDLs, single leg RDLs. And if we don't have the stability and we can't flex through the back of this leg, we can end up loading through our spine or compensating and hurt ourselves when we're doing hinging patterns. All right. So, speaking of core integrity, the next one's called a modified push-up. It is extremely difficult compared to a normal push-up. This is, again, we're checking upper body strength. We're also checking if someone is strong enough here in the trunk when they're doing what we call a midline stability push-up. So we come here. For men, we start thumbs at our eyes. For women, at the chin. We dig our toes in, we come up as a unit. And then we lower down as a unit. So what we're looking for, one, can we get off the ground? It's a huge sign of upper body strength. Again, it's hard because our hands are further away than our own push-up. It's supposed to be that way. The other thing we're testing, since our hands are so far away from our toes, is whether or not we're going to bend at the trunk. Because if someone comes up, peels off the ground, or if they can't hold themselves steady on the way down, we know that somewhere in midline, they're lacking some strength somewhere here in the front line of their body, right? Hip flexors, core, or the core connecting the shoulders and the chest. That's huge if we're doing upper body movements, but also any kind of pressing stuff. And it'll tell us if we need to work core stability with that individual. The last thing we do to see if we can go, this is probably the most challenging one. I've worked with athletes, and I've worked with high-level movers. And what we do is, we come here in a quadruped position. Our hands, knees, and toes are aligned together. Now, usually I'll just have folks go opposite arm, opposite leg. They come touch elbow, knee together, back up, put down. So from the side, I'm here, I make a straight line, boom. I globally flex, so I make a round spine, come back up, back down. So that shows if we have the control, what we call contralaterally from one side to the other, usually looking at our obliques, if those are capable of stabilizing us in rotational patterns, or anti-rotation, anti-flexion patterns, like side planks or throws. If someone can't do that well, we probably don't want to load them with a lot of med ball style throws because we don't have the stability and will compensate and possibly hurt ourselves. So, that is the functional movement screen. Those of you out there wondering if you're ready to go, trying to get back into the swing of things, give all these movements a go. They are also up online on my website. If you go to the fitness tips page under corrective exercise, or I believe under movement assessment, you'll find a picture with all the different standards for these movements to go over them again. So again, it's not an end all be all. If you cannot accomplish a movement, that's fine. It just tells you, and if I'm training somebody, it tells me what we